Hi, welcome to Box on the Box, Rock and Celluloid, Bot for short. I'm Emma Box, and today I'm going to be reviewing the new Heat album, Force Majeure. Now, you've maybe noticed I've got a bit of a croaky voice. I've got a really horrible throat infection, but the album came out yesterday, and I just need to review it now. So, croaky voice or not, let's do it. So, I first became aware of Heat when their debut album came out. I was in a band, and the drummer said, "Have you heard the new Heat album?" And when I listened to the tracks, I couldn't really buy into it. Later down the line, my brother got the first 3 albums, and he totally raved about the first 2 albums and wasn't as into the 3rd album. So I borrowed the albums again, and I still couldn't get into the first 2 albums, but I really liked the 3rd album, and then you got the 4th album, and these were with a different singer, Eric Granholm. So Eric Granholm won the sort of Swedish equivalent of American Idol or something like that. He's a great singer. The previous singer, Kenny Lagranko, I think is it, had a decent voice, but I just didn't totally quite connect with it, and the songwriting seemed a bit cheesy, whereas when they got Eric in, it still had that cheese factor, but just everything became a bit more robust. I always think, if you're going to be cheesy, you have to sell it the right way, and when Eric came in the band, it just sold it really good. So a band like Heat specialises in retro melodic rock with modern production. So back in the 80s, the cost of making an album, the type of album that Heat make with bells and whistles production, was hundreds of thousands of dollars. So typically it was only kind of big bands who got to make those kind of albums, and ones that made those albums and weren't successful soon got dropped, like a band like Aviator or, Soraya did a couple of albums. But now with home recording, you can get all these sounds. And then since the sort of 90s, there's been companies like Frontiers Records and AOR Heaven and so on, and Escape Music, basically issuing albums by bands, pardon me, bringing this sound back. And Heat are from the uplands in Varsby, Sweden, where Europe are from. And it's that kind of sound, TNT Europe and so on, that they've got. Typically melodic vocals, big choruses, big drums, catchy keyboard lines like a treat, and melodic guitar solos with lots of cool pentatonics and soaring melodies. So basically what happened was Heat did the 4 albums of Eric Granholm. They did Address the Nation, sorry, Christ, I can't remember the title of it. Or the next one. The last album was called Heat 2. They'll come back to me, sorry. I thought the last album, Heat 2, was the best album the band did, and others would disagree. But I thought, bar one song, I thought was spot on. I thought Eric's vocals were amazing. He's one of the great modern vocalists. I thought Dave DeLone stepped up finally into the guitar slot. Basically, they'd been a dual guitar band with a guy called Eric Rivers, and Eric Rivers was really good. And then Dave DeLone left. Maybe him and Eric fell out. Eric Rivers left and Dave DeLone came back. But I thought Dave DeLone did a cracking job with some really great solos, which I really enjoyed. So the whole band kind of settled into this really cool 5-piece with Jonah T, Crash on drums, and I forget the name of the keyboard player. Then Eric Granholm gets horrible cancer. He recovers from that, but he leaves the band. He starts doing cover versions on video. Then he does a kind of power metal project with Jonah T for Frontiers Records, and now he's a new singer in Skid Row. And I think I'll come back to that point. I think it says a lot about not Heat as a band, but where Heat are at and how hard it is for bands. So, sorry about my coughing, nothing I can do. So what's the new album like? Basically, Kenny, the original singer, has come back. So when he came back into the fold, Heat did a video of the song Rise off the Heat 2 album. And really to show that Kenny could kind of match up to Eric. I think Kenny, there was questions about his frontmanship back in the day on the first 2 albums. And I think it was to show that he seemed to have slimmed off. His hair was massive, long, and he seems to be sort of stepping up to the plate more. The performance of Rise was really good. He definitely improved. I don't like his voice as much as Eric's, but it's definitely got better. And I suppose it's kind of a savvy move. I mean, I think Killswitch Engage got back a old singer when Howard left them. Tearing Down the Walls, that's the 4th album, and Into the Great Unknown, that's the 5th album. Okay, so this is where Heat are at the moment. They released 3 tracks as singles with cool videos and have done this kind of Heat City concept. for the video release, which are good fun. Picture of the 5 of them on the front. Again, you've got this solid unit of 4 with the new singer. Who knows, maybe they'll end up with another singer, I don't know. So, first track, Back to the Rhythm. First thing you notice, it's business as normal in terms of the Heat sound and in terms of like, let's have a catchy chorus, let's do euphoric, melodic rock. All present and correct. I really like the track. I think Kenny's vocals sound really good. He's not as good as Eric, but he is decent. So I really like that track. And then it goes into Nationwide, which is more up-tempo. Again, this was a track released as a single. I like this track. It builds really well on the Back to the Rhythm track. Track number 3, Tainted Blood. This has got a really slinky sort of Rock the Night style riff. And this is really catchy. So, strong again. Then you got Hollywood. This was another single. A bit of a cheesy chorus, Hollywood, which is a bit strange, but it's pretty catchy. I'd say it's just more of a 6 out of 10 track. And then Harder to Breathe. This is a really good track as well. So, strong start. Then the album kind of tails off a bit. You've got Not For Sale, One of Us, Hold Your Fire, and Paramount. Not For Sale is okay, just not that memorable. One of Us is a ballad, probably a little better. Heat usually have a ballad on their albums. They're not always the best tracks. I'd say this is a pretty decent Heat ballad, 6 out of 10. Hold Your Fire, pretty forgettable. Then Paramount, it's pretty catchy, it's a bit cheesy, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. Then the album kind of kicks up dust again with Demonized. This is kind of like an up-tempo Deep Purple style track. More like Europe, when Europe used to do On the Loose and Scream of Anger. Those, Ready or Not, those kind of tracks. Really good. And then you got Wings of an Aeroplane, which finishes off, which is okay, 6 out of 10 track. So what's my mark out of 10 for this album? Well, just going through, I've got a straight 36, 46, then 52, 58, 68, 72. 72 out of a potential of 110. Calculated is 6.5 out of 10. And I think that's about right. Where does that put it in the Heat albums? I would still say, for me, Heat 2 is the best. A lot of people think my next choice, Address the Nation, is the best album. That's my second choice. That's easy, a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. Heat 2's an 8.5 out of 10. Tearing Down the Walls would be my third choice. Again, 7.5. Runs Address the Nation very close. I'll put this album on the par with Into the Great Unknown. I could never quite get away with that album. I was quite disappointed with it. The single released off it was quite a nice sort of experimental vibe. There's a track a bit more like Muse as well, which I thought was quite good. Not quite good, it was really good. So I'll put it about there. I still can't get away with the first couple of albums. So this is the 7th album, so, it's either their 4th or 5th best album. Maybe it's the 5th best album because I still prefer Eric singing. So what's it going to do for Heat, this album? Well, I think it shows they can survive without Eric. And it's clear Kenny can sing the Eric tracks because he's done that with Rise. But I think the fact Eric left shows a bigger problem for a band like Heat is back in the day, everyone always puts this online, they would have been huge, they would have been bigger than Bon Jovi. That is absolutely true, they'd be as big as Europe. But the world's not like that now. One of the problems with the melodic rock scene and Frontiers type releases and that, it's for people like you or me or you watching this review. We like that music and we like to hear the sounds of the past that we enjoyed. But how's it going to get new listeners? Yeah, I'm sure there's some younger people turned on by 80s melodic rock sound. But it's difficult to expand that to a level where it's going to provide a really solid living. The impression I get with Heat, certainly Jonah T and Dave DeLone seem to do other side projects, have home studios. As a lot of people in bands do. And I think Eric, maybe because of his cancer scare, made an assessment of his life and thought, I've done 4 albums with Heat. I've just made one that I think's best album, my best vocal performance. COVID's happened, I can't take it on tour. Well, what do I do? And then, he's joined Skid Row. Now, Skid Row, in terms of a heritage act, way down from, say, Whitesnake or something like that. But the criticism with Skid Row is like, and I didn't even know they'd kept going since '99 with other singers, is they could never replace Sebastian Bach. But now they've got a singer in Eric who can do the Sebastian Bach thing, and all of a sudden Skid Row stocks up, and Eric can probably do better in a lower level heritage act like Skid Row than he can in a new act like Heat. And like I say, Heat are 7 albums in. This band may end up doing another 7 albums, or another 7 albums on top of that. They'll have an audience. There'll be people like me, you. They may find some new people, but like an Eclipse, who've also done that amount of albums, it's hard to see them getting to a level where that can't be your sole focus. Most big heritage bands, like a Def Leppard or a White Snake or Judas Priest or whatever, that's what they do. They don't do any other things because that it's big enough, or so big, that it's all encompassing. Whereas for a band like Heat, you'd have to do other things, or maybe have a side job to support your income. I think. I could be wrong, but that's my sort of feeling. I think in the streaming era, I think it's very hard for rock bands to thrive, because for some reason it seems to have, the streaming hasn't favoured the rock consciousness, and it's difficult to get breakout music that racks up those streams. The streams work like a pound shop. It's, sell music cheap, basically, as any music you want for £10 a month, and then what you need to do is rack up the streams to get the money in, which is what the pop artists do. They have huge amounts of streams, so it's okay for them. But if you're a rock band and you're getting like 100, 200,000, a million streams, 2 million, it may sound like a lot, but in monetary terms, it's not. So that's my theory anyway. So coming back to the album, I'm giving it a 6.5 out of 10. I think it's business. That's fairly normal for Heat. If you like Heat, I think you'll enjoy it. If you mourned Kenny leaving in the first place, you'll love it that he's back. And yeah, okay, so check it out. So that's my review of Force Majeure. Once again, apologise. I've got more bugged up as I've been doing this, but I just had to get this review done because obviously the album's just come out. Okay, I'll see you again soon. Thank you very much. Bye.